Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. My name is Pullein and today we're looking at how to automate your day so that you don't have to overthink or run the risk of developing decision fatigue. Now let me first explain what decision fatigue is. If you don't have a plan for the day, you're having to make a decision every time you finish a piece of work or a task about what are you going to do next. Now, in the morning, this is generally quite easy to do because your energy level, your decision-making energy level, if you like, is very high. But throughout the day, that energy is being diminished. It's being used up. So usually when you get to like 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, you feel mentally worn out. Now, this isn't because you've run out of energy per se, it's because you've used up all that decision-making energy and you're just not able to make another decision about what to do next. Now, to overcome this and to build a system whereby your whole day feels effortless, as Greg McKeown, author of a new book called Effortless, would say, is to build in as much automation into your day as possible. Now, what do I mean by automation? Well, automation isn't about using technology to do the work for you, or where possible, of course you should. What it actually means is by helping you to make those decisions before the day starts. Now, there's a number of ways you can do that. The first thing is you could set a period of time each day when you will do your exercise. Now, that could be first thing in the morning, it could be in the evening, or it could be at lunchtime. But when it gets to the allotted time, let's just say that you will exercise at 7 a.m. every morning, so between 7 and 8 a.m., that's when you do your exercise, then it's non-negotiable. That is what you do between 7 and 8 every day. Now, taking this into the workplace, the way to do this is, let's just say, for example, you follow my Inbox Zero email management system. Well, in that particular cases, you have an allotted time for processing your email. Let's say 8:30 or 9 a.m. in the morning. Remember, that's processing, not doing. And then let's say 4 till 5 p.m. is an hour that you've given yourself for managing your communications. And that will include dealing with email, dealing with any phone calls you might have missed, and dealing with any Slack or Teams messages or whatever. Now, a lot of people resist that and they will tell you, oh, I don't like having things like that. My days will be so boring. I like to be spontaneous. Well, great. Spontaneity is a good thing. The trouble is with being spontaneous about those things that you have to do anyway, is that you start having to make decisions every day about when you're going to do it. And that is tiring you out. That is mentally draining. And you want to avoid that where possible. Now, I've covered a lot of concepts in these YouTube videos and of course in my courses, but one of the most important concepts that I use is something I call your core work. Now, your core work is the work that you are employed to do. Now, really in a basic format, if you're a salesperson, you're employed to sell. If you're a teacher, you're employed to teach. You know, there's a pretty good clue about what your core work is in your job description. Now, that means that you need to identify what is the core work related to your job. Selling means getting in front of your customers. If you like, it's what Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy would call your minors and your majors and your minors. You know, the major work is when you're sat in front of the client, the prospect or the customer. The minor work is dealing with your administration. That's just a very simple example of what your majors and minors are, or what your core work is. What is your core work? Now, if you've never identified what your core work is, then it's going to be practically impossible to be able to automate your day because you're going to be reacting. You're not going to be able to proactively plan out the day. Now, planning out the day doesn't have to be time consuming. It's about deciding what am I going to do tomorrow and when am I going to do it. So let's say, for example, I have a very important presentation to prepare, then I'm going to make sure that my calendar has a block of time in my day tomorrow for doing that preparation time. So let's say, for argument's sake, I set this time as 1 p.m, let's say after lunch. Now I'm going to give myself 90 minutes after lunch to go into focus mode, i.e. turn off all my notifications, and I'm going to spend 90 minutes working on this presentation. Now the thing is, I've made the decision the day before. So once it gets to 1 p.m, I get back to my desk after lunch, I sit down, I open up my presentation software, I open up my notes for the presentation, and I get to work. I turn off all my notifications. Now, some people seem to have this very high opinion of their self-worth and importance that they feel they have to be available 24/7. Their boss might call, an important customer might call. But in my experience, even the worst kind of boss and the most demanding of customers doesn't have a problem waiting 50 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, maybe even an hour and a half for you to respond to one of their questions. It's our feeling that we have to be available 24/7 every second of every day for these bosses and these important customers. That's just not true. That's your mind telling you that you have this very high inflated opinion of your value to the company. The one thing I've learned working with hundreds of people and also working in companies myself, we are remarkably dispensable. Nobody is indispensable within a company. And if you need 90 minutes to prepare for a presentation, make sure that you give yourself that 90 minutes. And the chances of your boss calling you at 1 minute past 1, demanding that you answer their question, is so tiny, it isn't even worth worrying about. But instead, what a lot of people will do is they'll leave all their notifications on, they're checking their email, and they're trying to prepare for a very important presentation. Well, you're not going to do a very good job because you're not focused. You're not focused on the job in hand. But when you actually get really comfortable about blocking this time out, in this case 90 minutes to prepare for a presentation, and being determined to make sure you stay focused on that, and you make the decision the day before that that is what you are going to do, you will not get to the end of the day feeling mentally exhausted because you've made all the difficult decisions the day before. You've used up the remaining part of your decision-making energy, if you like, the day before. So when you start the day, you have a plan. You know what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and you know what your outcomes are for the day. And this is why I strongly recommend people adopt the 2+8 prioritization system or method that I developed. Now, what this basically means is you get 2 objective tasks. What must be done today that you will do everything in your power to get done. It's the 2 things that you're going to be so focused on that they get done. And then the 8 other tasks are the, if you like, the should do's. And if you do get time throughout the day, which 90% of the time you will, you can get those done. This might be to follow up on a customer. It might be to chase somebody. It might be to start planning next week. Any of those things could be part of those 8. And that's it. You get those 10 tasks per day. Now, of course, if you finish early or an emergency comes in, you've still got the flexibility to deal with it and still get those 2 important tasks done. Now, if you're doing that 5 days a week, you are doing 10 important, meaningful tasks each week. No boss is going to be unhappy with you if you've identified that those 2 focus tasks, those 2 objective tasks, I should say, that you do each day are things that are moving projects forward, dealing with problems, making sure that your most important clients, customers, whoever, are being dealt with professionally and quickly. Now, doing all this might sound like a lot of work, but actually it's 10 minutes at the end of the day, 15 max, for you to decide what needs to be done tomorrow. What are my 2 things that I must get done tomorrow? And what are the 8 other things I would really like to get done tomorrow? And the other part of it is being able to look at your calendar and saying, oh look, I've got 2 hours here between 3 and 5. I can block that out and do some focused work. Now, if it's a Friday, the chances of somebody calling you and saying, I need a meeting right now, are very tiny. A little bit like Monday mornings. A lot of people don't want to be running around panicking on Monday morning, so you usually find you can get some focused time in there. But if you want to take this to the next level, my recommendation is to fix time blocks into your calendar that are permanent. Let me just give you an example. I record these videos every Friday morning. 8:30 a.m. roughly, I will start recording my videos. It's non-negotiable. That's what I do every Friday morning. Tuesdays is a writing day. I will sit down, open up my writing app, and I'm going to write every Tuesday. Now, I'm lucky in that I'm in a time zone where most of my clients and customers are all asleep in the morning where I am. So my clients and customers generally are waking up between 4 p.m. in the afternoon, that's Europe, and the US usually waking up between 9 and 10, 11 p.m. at night. So I'm very lucky. Most of my email will come in through the night. During the day, I'm not getting very many messages at all. But even in your case, where you may have messages and telephone calls and emails coming in from important people, you can stop checking all that for an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. That's still going to give you 2 hours of focused, uninterrupted time. And these days, particularly if you're working from home, it's a lot easier to be in a distraction-free environment, hopefully, and that you don't have kids running around you or your spouse or your partner's running, asking you questions all day. But hopefully you've now found a good distraction-free environment in which to work from home. And so if you're now having to go back to the office, say 3 days a week, and you can work from home 2 days a week, use those days at home as your real focused days. Try and schedule all the interruption time and the meetings and the questions and the client contacts. Try and schedule them when you're working from the office. That's what the office is really good for, because you can ask quick questions to your colleagues. But when you're working from home, I would say make those your focus days. If you could get 2 focus days a week, you're going to get an awful lot of work done. But this is all about forward planning. If you really want to get control, if you really want to achieve that, as Greg McKeown calls it, effortless productivity, then you need to take control of your calendar. You need to start establishing where your blocks of time are going to be for those important things. And it's also one of the reasons why morning routines and evening routines work really well, because they become part of who you are. It's what you do. You don't even have to think about it. You wake up in the morning, you follow the same routine. That's why they're so powerful. It preserves your mental decision-making energy because you're not having to make a decision. You are just getting on and doing it. So there you go. Hopefully that's given you some ideas. I really hope that you start taking your control of your calendar. You really start to block out focus blocks of time so that you can do the important work and all the important things for yourself. And make sure that, let's just give you one final example. If you gave yourself 2 hours of focused, undisturbed time where you turn off your notifications, that would still leave you with 6 hours where you would be available for your boss, your customers, your clients, your colleagues, anyone else. That's a lot of time to be available for anybody and everyone. And all you're taking is 2 hours where you're getting your important work done. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now, I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently, I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.